I guess I should start with I was born in Gary, Indiana, but we later moved to Macon, Georgia, to a place called Forsyth County, Georgia. I guess that's all interesting because my mother was white and I had no father, and I lived in an all-black community, except that in Forsyth County it was an all-white county, which means at sundown all people of color had to leave the county. They had to live. We lived in a neighborhood outside the county, and because my mother was white and we lived in an all-black community, every Friday my mother would get arrested by the police and held in the jail Friday and Saturday and released Sunday morning because they didn't want her associating with black people because she was white. So that was my first introduction into this idea of my race being a problem. So when we look at, in this country, when we start to look at the educational systems and some of the systems that we have in place, we've never dealt with the fact that we started a group of people 10 yards behind. We've never talked about it. We just assume that somehow you magically catch up. And you don't. In order for it to work, you have to figure out a system to catch that person up to be where you are. We've never done that, right? And so when we look historically at schools, even in Boone County, well, let's not pretend, especially in Boone County, our white students perform at a significantly higher level than our diverse students. When we look at our failure rates in Boone County, our minority students fail at a much higher rate than our white students. And it's because we created a school system where we said you were equal, but we never made up the ground from them being behind. And so as everybody progresses, we've progressed, but not at the same rate. We've never caught up, so we're still behind. I think, and we have to be really careful there, right? I think this is where the dialogue gets uncomfortable for the diverse community, specifically the African American community, because you can't just hand them everything, right? The idea is that you can't just give them a pot of gold and say go, because the reality is we see in athletics, we see these athletes who get all this money, right? But they've never been trained how to handle the money, so within 5 years of finishing their professional sport, they're broke, because they aren't educated, right? So the key is that we've got to put continue to put some things in place. Now, don't mistake me, we have done some stuff, some work. I just don't think we've done enough work to justify where we are, where we were. So yes, we have to put some things in place. We have to be cognizant of different students. For instance, every day I work with students, and I'll have a group of students who'll be at this level, and I'll have a group of students that'll be at a lower level. The students who are at the lower level are not less intelligent than the students at this level. What they don't have are the same skills to get them to that level. Now they're in the same class, right? How do we cover that gap, right? And most of those gaps have to do with gaps in formal education. Right, where some students might have gone to this school where they did, they taught this way, and the other students went to another school where they taught a different way, and the school that they're currently in is in line with the first school. So those students do better because they're used to that system. And so they perform at a higher level, and we see that in our district quite a bit. We see that in this school. And so how do we get those same students without lowering these students? Because that's the other issue, is if you start to lower the standard to these students, now you're holding these students back, right? So the objective has to be to get them up. And I think that process takes a long time. It takes a long time to implement, and it's different for every group of students, which makes it complicated. How we do it is going to take the efforts of all of us. And therein lies the real root of the problem. We have a group of rulers who make decisions in isolation from the people they rule. Right? So the top makes a decision, and this doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, what your religious background and affiliation is. It doesn't matter. The ruling class will make decisions in isolation from those that are underneath, thinking they're doing the right thing. They're not trying to hurt you. They just, because they don't talk with you, because they have no relationship with you, they make decisions without understanding you. When we desegregated the school system, it was one of the worst things we ever did in the United States to the black community. From one perspective, it's the best thing we ever did from another. You know, the best thing was that we were able to say that we're equal, that we as human beings are equal to one another. The bad part was we stopped the relationships with those African American students. Here's what I would say to you. When I came here 6 years ago, I was concerned. I was taking Confederate flags off of walls. There were racial slurs on bathroom stalls. Every day, a minority student was coming to me saying, "Hey, that guy just walked by me and called me the N-word." Every day. I think it took some time when you think about this in our building. Think about this. How many black teachers do we have?
Not many.
2. Me and Mr. Dothan. That's it. Now we have some people from Spain. I think we have a couple people from Mexico. But for the most part, we're it, right? So one of the issues that we had was that there was, this perception, specifically that black men aren't that they're dangerous and not very smart, was unintentionally being given weight because there were no black teachers. You never saw any. So the idea of having one was kind of odd. When I first got here, the first thing that students would ask when I go into a classroom is, "What are you doing?" And well, I'm the teacher. What do you mean? What am I doing? And if they found out, if some of their parents would even pull them out of the class, because there's no way that gentleman could give my student what they need to be successful in the classroom. So that has changed quite a bit, but it took a few teachers coming in of color and doing everything they could possibly do to make sure that they were competent and that the community understood that they were competent to start to change that. Have we gotten better? Yes. Are we where we need to be? Well, no, because a large number of our students still believe that black men are better athletes than white men. A large number of our students think that our diverse women are promiscuous. Some of our stereotypes that we promote in the school, and many times unintentionally, line up with this idea that that we're not equal, that we're not the same, that we don't have the same problems, and we don't have the same likes and dislikes, that we're different, and we are different, but we don't celebrate the difference. In fact, what I hear a lot of Ryle students say to me is, "Mr. D, I don't see color." That's what they tell me. I'm colorblind. I get really offended by that, and they don't know why. And the reason I'm offended is because what you're telling me is that you do not see this 6'2", 285-pound black man standing in front of you. You're saying I'm invisible to you. That skin color that I have doesn't exist. That the experiences I've had because of the color of my skin don't exist. I don't see that, Mr. D. I just like you because you're a person. No. I need you to know my experiences, right? Pulled over twice in front of my own house. Where are you going? Home. Where's home? Right there. It's on my driver's license. Twice with my family in the car. 2 kids sleeping in the back and my wife. Right? Questions that are really interesting, but I never got a ticket. Give me the ticket. If I've done something wrong, give me the ticket. I'm okay with the ticket. If I've been speeding or I've made a turn illegally, I've not followed the law, and you give me the ticket, give me the ticket. I've been raised. My mother at 10 years old, she said to me, son, I need to teach you something that's the most basic thing in life that you're ever gonna know. And I thought it was gonna be girls. I'm like, Mom, hey, you gonna teach me about girls? She said, no, I need you to teach you how to handle police when they pull you over. 10. I challenge you to find a friend who's white at 10 years old had that conversation with their parents. Why does my mom have to have that conversation with me? 10. Those are some of the questions that we kind of need to deal with, that we're so afraid to have these conversations. I'm happy to be an American. My questioning of the system does not in any way impact my love of my country. I would not want to go anywhere else. But because I love my country, I'm willing to fight to make sure that it includes all of us. And sometimes having a differing opinion from the norm, people will tell you that you don't love, that you're just trying to tear it down. I'm not trying to tear it down. I'm trying to build it up so that everybody who goes through our systems and is an American citizen has an opportunity to really be the best them they can be. Every person. Am I going to get to every person? Am I going to be able to create a system? Well, no, but I'm going to try. Every day I'm going to try to do something that helps the system get better. And that's all I can do in my lifetime, is keep trying to make sure we do that. And I think that's, if we all embrace that and we all spend time with one another, we all celebrate our differences, celebrate our cultural differences, our ethnic differences, I don't care what your difference is. Different is not bad. Different is different. And until I know what your different is, I don't even have an opinion on it. In fact, my opinion really doesn't matter. The reality is that I'm charged to love every person here, period. Even the one that has the big giant Confederate flag that is saying to me out loud, I hate you. I'm supposed to love them too. And that's the piece that throws kind of a wrinkle in everything we do.